Hello, my name is Malia and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to define your niche as a facilitator. I'm going to be sharing 4 steps that have helped me in my journey and may help you too. So my name is Malia Josephine and this is my professional channel where I talk about group facilitation, facilitative leadership, and facilitation consulting, and basically how to craft your professional facilitation practice if you want to be using facilitation to make money. So let's go into how to define your niche as a facilitator. Step number 1. So the first step is to figure out whether you are a group facilitator or a facilitative leader or a facilitative professional. So a group facilitator means a very specific thing. And for me, I've been exploring the facilitation world for like 10 years, a decade, and I have seen a lot of people define themselves as facilitators. And since I've been a professional facilitator and understand industry jargon, I've realized that these people don't quite know what a group facilitator actually is. So a group process facilitator, defined in industry jargon terms, is a neutral third party, meaning they're not a member of the group they are facilitating, process expert. So neutral means that they are impartial to the group's ideas, the decisions that they make, the direction that they choose to go with whatever the facilitator is facilitating about. So the facilitator doesn't offer suggestions. They don't offer advice. They don't offer any sort of solutions as to whatever the group is talking about. They're often a third party. So that is important because they don't have a stake in whatever the group is talking about. They don't have an interest. They're there just to support the group in figuring out whatever they're working on. And the third part, let's see, what was the third part? Is that, they don't have any decision-making authority and they're a process expert. And so they're just a process expert. They understand how to create awesome processes that help groups with inclusivity, with democracy, with mutual understanding, with full participation. They know how to help a group through whatever experience the group needs to go through to reach a goal. Now that is a group facilitator. So what I have realized is that all of these other professionals who do facilitating, they are facilitators in a way. What they are is they are a facilitative leader. Now, a facilitative leader is any professional who is guiding groups using facilitative approaches and therefore building collaborative cultures. There is a lot of facilitative approaches that professionals can use, and these include professionals like educators, trainers, consultants, group coaches, group therapists. All of these professionals aren't group facilitators, but they absolutely use facilitation and facilitative approaches, and that's why I call them facilitative leaders. So for me personally, I identify as a group facilitator who helps groups with things like strategic planning, deliberative democracy, coming to collaborative decisions. And I also identify as a facilitative leader, particularly a transformation facilitative leader who hosts and guides groups of people through experiences that lead to personal self-development and growth and healing and inspiration. And, I host like workshops and I guide people through amazing experiences. That's different than a group process facilitator, but I'm still facilitating. So that's the first step to help you figure out your niche, is figure out which one of those are you, and it's okay to be both. Let's go to step 2. Step 2 is figuring out what your goal is as a facilitator. So, when you think about what your goal is, you want to think about what are you most excited and passionate about to offer a group, to bring a group? What do you love to do and what do you not love to do? So some examples of some goals that facilitators and facilitative leaders can help groups with are things like learning about a subject or a topic, having an experience that's developmental or healing or therapeutic, helping a group move through conflict, helping a group make decisions, helping a group design their future together. These are all different goals, and these different goals have vastly different schools of thought and approaches and modalities that you can specialize in to craft your niche. So the third step that I would say, well, maybe I'll just share what my goal is. So for me, I come from a background of deliberative facilitation, which basically means that what I love to do is to help people make decisions together, oftentimes complex, hard decisions. And so for me, when I think about what my niche is, I'm looking for approaches and modalities that are going to help me learn how to help groups navigate tension and decision-making methods so that I can offer products and services that, that fulfill my goal, because that's what I'm excited to do. To be honest, I'm not as interested in conflict facilitation, being a mediator, being someone who's helping people move through conflict and disputes. Of course, that's a part of a lot of facilitation. Conflict comes up in all groups most of the time, but I don't want to specialize in that. That's not my niche, because that's just not what my goal is. That's not what I'm interested in doing all of the time. So, okay, going on to step number 3, which is figuring out your skill set. So as a facilitator, you have to advance your skills. You have to develop a wide range of skills that you may not have natural abilities in, right? So it's like you have to be pushing your edge in your comfort zone to be a great facilitator. And at the same time, understanding what your natural abilities are. What are your strengths? What are your gifts? What are the skills that you love to offer and that are easy for you to offer? Understanding that can help you figure out what's going to be sustainable for you. What's the niche that you can specialize in that isn't going to burn you out? And so some questions that you can be asking yourself are questions like, can I handle people who are in intense emotional dysregulation without getting triggered? Right? That'd be, if you can handle that, and not only that, but you love doing that, you may be a great mediator. Other questions to ask yourself are you able to maintain impartiality when you are facilitating a group with people who have very vastly different political ideologies than you? Are you able to maintain neutrality? And if you are, then you may be a good deliberative facilitator. You can bring really diverse perspectives together. But if you're someone who gets in arguments and in debates with people who have really different political ideologies than you, then that's not a strong skill set of yours. And so it may not make sense to be putting yourself in those situations. Another question to ask yourself is, are you able to help groups focus and be on track when they get off track and they're talking about all of these different things? If you are, then you may be a really good change facilitator, like someone who's really getting the group to come back to, what do you want to change? What's your vision statement? What are you focused on? So those are some questions you can ask yourself to help figure out what are your natural skill sets. Okay, we're on to the number 4. What is the 4th step? Figuring out your why. I would say figuring out your why is the most important. It really is like monumental. And the reason why is because when you figure out your why, you root into your story. And your story is what you share. It's what you share to yourself, and it's what you share to your clients and the world to explain why the work that you do is important to you. And so a why is really about like what the question you should ask yourself when trying to figure out what your why is what are the cultural shifts that you want your work to be contributing to? How is your work going to transform society? And when you answer that, you're able to identify the why. And so to me, the why is so important because it helps me find like what my authentic approaches are going to look like. Like, my why helps me identify, oh, I want to be facilitating these types of processes. And I don't want to be facilitating these types because these don't align with my why, with my values. It also helps you discover what types of clients you really want to be working with, because those clients that hear your why and understand your why are in alignment with the mission that you are here to bring to the world. And so that's the why. I feel like there's another part to it, but those are the steps that I suggest you bring. Oh, I know what I was going to say. When it comes to the why, I can give an example. So let's say that you're drawn to conflict facilitation and you're a mediator. A way that you could share your why is you could say, so I'm a conflict facilitator, I do mediation, and I help people move through conflict. You could then say, the reason why I do this work is because I believe in creating a culture where that acknowledges that conflict is a natural and an inevitable part of life that can help people develop deeper relationships, that can help people build mutual understanding, that can help liberate power structures, right? So that would be an example of a deeper why to your work. So yeah, there's an example. So just to kind of come to some conclusion about these 4 steps to defining your niche as a facilitator. For me, I sometimes look at all of the different types of facilitation specializations and I'm like, oh my God, I want to do them all. I want to do them all. And I would say that that's totally cool. If you want to be kind of a broad range generalist, I think that's an okay thing to do. And if anything, I think, the millennial generation in the professional world is changing. We oftentimes need more multidisciplinary professionals who understand a diverse range of skill sets. And I think it's really helpful to have cross-pollination of a lot of different ideologies of facilitation so you can bring a really robust practice to your clients. And at the same time, when you find a niche and when you specialize, it's so much easier to market yourself. And it's easier to market yourself because clients want specific deliverables. They want something like a strategic plan or a planned dialogue or a professional training that you're going to facilitate. So by having this is the service that I offer, clients are like, oh yes, that's what I want. It's just a lot easier to explain what you're offering. So there are, pros and cons to becoming a broad range generalist or being niched and specialized in a certain type. And it just really relates to what you want to do with your life and what you are most excited to offer the world and clients. So thank you so much for watching. Please comment, share, subscribe, like if you liked this content, and if you want to keep learning about how to become a professional facilitator or facilitative leader. Just wanted to pop in here to share that if you go on to my company's website, Facilitation Jobs, you can take a quiz that asks you introspective questions and just reflecting questions to help you identify all of these different steps your goal as a facilitator, your skill set as a facilitator, and your why. So if you want to take that quiz and download my free ebook about facilitative leadership, you can go ahead and click on the link.